velocity 1.21 gigawatts. For Dr. Underground song, Christopher Lloyd.
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. So, well. Any questions? I hope so. All right.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so this is actually my mom wanted me to ask you this. She was a huge fan of Taxi.
What's the question?
She wanted to know, in terms of your character, what was going on with that character? How did you play him the way you did?
Which character? From
Taxi. Yeah.
Iggy. Remember Jim? Well, like it sort of comes out in a way in the episodes is that he had a certain vulnerability towards getting high. And, there was an episode where I'm at Harvard, and there's some kids in the room in the dorm, and they're all kind of having a good time, and this thing gets passed around, which I know nothing about. And, okay, I tried it, and that's end of story. From then on, I got really, my character really got into pot, and maybe some other things, and kind of burned out some brain cells in time. And so, I kind of assumed he'd slipped out of Harvard onto the streets and became kind of a 60s bum around kind of guy. And he grew older, had trouble finding employment. He was a bit brain dead, and eventually the taxi company, Lloyd and the others, saw him out on the street. He acquired this name or reputation as being a bit of a Reverend Jim. So they asked him to come in and help, and to marry Lotka to a woman, American woman, so that Lotka could get his citizenship papers. And then they just kind of liked having me around. I became a taxi driver. And you know the rest, those who know the show.
Thank you, Mr. Lloyd!
Yeah.
That show about the cows, that was my favorite. You and Danny Perlman were running the show. Oh, sorry, he used his maiden name then. My question is about probably one of your greatest movie roles of all time. The famous doctor you played who had an affair with one of his patients and was being blackmailed by Mr. Body. And, I never quite understood the end of that one. I seemed to jump around quite a bit.
I can see you haven't recovered yet. That's great.
What am I, an idiot? Okay, my question is, by the way, that was a plum roll. Don't do that to me. My question is, with the 30th anniversary coming up of that movie, is there anything in the works, some special release, Blu-ray, special?
From
Clue, it's Clue.
From Clue?
Clue, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Clue. Clue. I don't remember any of my lines offhand. I will say, how many of you saw Clue? Wow. It's funny because when it came out in the US, it didn't have like a huge success. They love it in England and I guess here. What I remember about Clue was such an extraordinary cast. You know, when you start out, I started out in the theater, and the ideal was to have an ensemble, a group of actors who worked together as a company, and that was certainly the ideal. All those people attached were wonderful performers, and I felt so fortunate to be included among them, and we had a lot of fun. And so I'm glad that you asked that question because it was a wonderful show.
Well, thank you for coming here today, Mr. Lloyd.
The goal. Something like that.
Hi there.
Hi.
Welcome to Ottawa.
Thank you. It's my first time. I hope there'll be many more.
Me too. So when Back to the Future came out, 2015 was like so far in the future.
What was that?
When Back to the Future first came out, 2015 seemed so far away. But now it's almost here.
Uh-huh.
And some companies are like Nike's making the shoes and there's hoverboards, and I'm wondering if there are any technologies from the movie that you would like to see in our modern day.
Well, I think for many people out there working on a hoverboard, which would be kind of cool. I don't know how, but I'm sure it will happen someday. You know, I don't think there's anything in the film that can't happen someday. You know, I mean, even time travel. Who knows? Who knows? You know, we're about to create energy by way of fusion. Who would have thought? You know, it would change the world.
That's my favorite, is the garbage running cars with garbage.
Yeah, I mean, flux capacitor and all that stuff. Great Scott! And then the sneakers that self-tie. What else did we have? That weird thing out of my head that could, you know, think and perform in ways mysterious. Maybe that will be happening someday. They can now hook you up. They can now hook you up. Personally, when I was a kid, I didn't communicate well. I found everything that was happening around me pretty intimidating and scary, especially other guys, you know, in the school and etc. And I somehow, and I felt very defenseless. I don't know how to protect myself, take care of myself really well, you know what I mean? And I would have this, I began to get the sense that if I could make people smile, they wouldn't kill me. You know? And it happened without any big thought on my part. It was just a way of survival. And then I became aware that, you know, in a way it was a bit of that. I didn't feel great, I didn't feel secure, but it was something I did, maybe not even something I said. Used people looking at me and saying, you know, even if they just said, what an idiot. You know, at least I felt I got out of the situation alive. And as time went on, I kind of carried that into the idea of acting. Since I kind of attained that knack by way of survival. And I started, by the time I was 13 or 14, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Well, Awesome, thanks.
All right.
Just want to make sure you were aware before the.
Hi. First off, Mr. Lloyd, I wanted to thank you for being such an inspiration to so many people who have gone on into the realm of science education.
Oh, thank you.
Doc Brown was fantastic that way. My favorite film in the trilogy was Part 3, Back to the Future Part 3. What was it like doing the big train sequence with Mary Steenburgen and Michael J. Fox?
What was the other Uncle Ray Brown?
What was it like doing the train sequence in Part 3 with Michael J. Fox and Mary Steenburgen? Like when you were on the train trying to get back to 1985?
Well, Back to the Future 3 has always been my favorite of the sequels. It was a Western. Westerns are fun. You have shoes, you have horses, you're riding, you shoot people. All that is fun. And in Back to the Future 3, I had a romance, like you say, with Mary Steenburgen. It was my first real screen romance. And the last one. And then there was that steam engine. I don't know how many of you have had the opportunity to get near or on or a steam engine. A steam engine. I mean, these things were enormous, with all the gears and wheels and steam coming out of the gauges. They're extraordinary. They're dinosaurs, but sometimes they haven't preserved in various places where you can go take a ride through the Rocky Mountains or something. It's worth it just to see these things operate. So that was a lot of fun. And Mary Steenburgen version was great. It was great casting. We've kind of had a lifelong infatuation. That's all, but we really enjoyed each other's company. That was great. And there was something else you asked me.
Oh, I was just wondering, what was its really terrifying experience having to move along on the train there when it was going so fast, about to blow up?
Yeah, it got your attention. But it was also kind of exciting. I mean, I had times that I'm hanging on to the side of the train, and it was going along, fast enough so it looked like it was going fast, maybe 30, 35 miles an hour. And it's kind of every kid's dream, It's like, where do you get a chance to do that kind of thing, And so that was a lot of fun. But I don't think anything was fictionalized in that. I think they were very specific about recreating exactly what happened. Is that your question?
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Hi, Mr. Lloyd.
Hi.
My name's Eddie Spaghetti.
Sorry.
Eddie Spaghetti.
Eddie Spaghetti?
Yeah. And first of all, I gotta say thank you for making my childhood awesome. Because I loved watching the movies all the time when I was a kid. And I mean, I have this unwritten rule that if I watch a movie that I'm not really too sure about, but I see your name in the credits, I'm kind of guaranteed to get something really good out of it, at least. So,
What was the question?
I'm looking at question.
No, I'm sorry. I apologize, but my hearing isn't perhaps the greatest, and everything the sound gets kind of blurred in this space. It's
Yeah, for
kind of
sure.
difficult.
So my question is, with the third movie, Back to the Future, the scene at the very end when you're standing on the train that you built and you're with your family and stuff, there's this weird thing that one of your kids does in the background. And a lot of people noticed it after the letterbox version came out because they could see the whole picture. But one of your kids basically looks at the camera and mentions towards it and then points at his ankle dangle. So what happens is that your kid, one of the kids behind you, Vern, is standing there and you're talking to Marty and you're saying the future hasn't been written yet, but you can make it what it is. And then the kid looks at the camera and he goes like that, and then he points at his crotch. And I was wondering, what does that mean? Is that like a message for the camera to move in?
Are you serious?
It's honestly, if you're watching it, you're noticing he motions to the camera, and then when the camera stops panning in, he points at his crotch and then he laughs. And I always wondered, like, is he telling the camera to move in, stop, or is he saying, move in, hurry up, Mr. Zemeckis, I gotta go to the bathroom?
Probably the latter. But I'll tell you, I'm going to find that kid. You know, it's probably, but I'm going to bring in, just have a little discussion, a little talk about it. That's very interesting. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Nice to see you again.
I've seen you before.
I know, we got that great picture yesterday, which got about 60 likes on Facebook, so thank you.
Okay.
My question is about Back to the Future and the character progression of Doc. Because in the first movie, he was very emotionless, I found. But by the third, you said earlier, he had a romance and he was hugging Marty. And did you like the way the character progressed over the three movies?
Yes, I did. I thought the writers, you know, it's really tough to come out with the first of a series of films and live up to it in the second and the third. You know, usually you see the first, and somehow the second, the sequel just doesn't quite cut it the same way. And I felt that they really maintained the quality and the excitement and the interest all the way through all three of them. And I just always felt that the arc or the progression of Doc's character made sense, it was real, it was organic, it was true. I never felt, oh, wait, well, you know, this is strange, why are we doing this or something at all? It's all where Doc would go. So I felt good about that.
Excellent, thank you very much. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you.
Hi, Christopher. My name's Catherine. I'm a huge fan. I have a question. You had a couple of really eccentric roles like Doc and the Martian, my favorite Martian. How do you prepare for these roles? Because they're like spot on, like really funny.
I sort of get into every role I'm lucky enough to do the same way, whether it's comedy or tragedy, whatever it is. When I first read the script, I try to figure out, what do I know about this guy? You know, what is it about this character that I see in myself? And if I can find that, then I can share that with an audience. And I try to find something that I see in the character that I feel the audience shares as well, you know. Same with Doc Brown. He's got this thing about time travel. Everybody, sometime in their lives, thinks, gee, if I could go to the future and see what it's like in 57 years, or I could go to the past and drop in on some period of the past and see what's going on. I mean, we all have that kind of feeling, even in our own lives. Shit, damn it, if I saw that when I was 10 years old, I wouldn't be doing what the hell I'm doing now, you know? Kind of revelations like that. So everybody relates to time travel. And I just wanted a Doc demands it. So he goes out and gets a DeLorean and soups it up, and it works. But I just try to find some truth in what I read in the pages. Even if it's just a little moment, I say, that I understand. Then I can build around it so that I have a fleshed out character to give. And I love doing that, because when you succeed, it's just such a great rapport with the audiences, Touching back to a question somebody asked a little while ago, Back to the Future's had an enormous impact. I mean, it still goes on. Kids that saw it when it came out in 1985 are grown up, and now they have kids that are seeing it now, and it just keeps going on. Eventually, it'll pass, but it just keeps going, and so many people will come up to me. A man from Africa who grew up in some awful circumstances there said that he got the inspiration to be an engineer. When he was a kid, he saw the film and said, I want to be an engineer. And I've had a lot of people over time say how it affected their lives in a deep kind of way. And that's, it's great to have a part of something that has that deep a meaning and importance to people. So that's sort of the general answer to your question. Thank you.
Fights you may have actually arranged stuff.
Food fights.
Yeah.
Food fights?
Yeah, you played a grocer and you played this crazy guy.
You must be Leonard.
Like I've seen the movie, but I've seen snippets of it, and I gotta ask you, have you ever seen it? And if so, what'd you think?
I don't think I've seen it. Food fights. The title is familiar, but I do a fair amount of films. And some of them, when they rap, nobody will ever hear about them again. Some get into festivals, and so once in a while, one actually gets into the theaters. And so I'm sorry. Another question off the top of your head. Another question.
There's been lots of rumors about a new Back to the Future, and I was wondering, if that were to actually happen, would you be interested in reprising the role or anything?
You betcha. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Lloyd, for coming out.